Beneath his stormy surface flowed the warm tide of compassion and kindness.
HVL.
Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last unstruck, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last unstruck, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last unstruck, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last unstruck, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last unstruck, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last unstruck, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last unstruck, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last unstruck.
Hey, what's up, softball fans, and welcome into episode number 4 of What in the HVL. I'm Adam Peterson, and I'll be bringing you all the action that happened this past week in the Hiawatha Valley League Conference for our softball teams. Thank you to everybody that has tuned in, that's tuning in right now, and to all those teams, the parents, the players that have shared our episodes on social media to promote this, help get it out there, let people watch, so that we can talk about the amazing girls that we have here playing softball in southeastern Minnesota. I know I think I even got a shout out from the Minnesota Sticks on my gear last episode, so I felt like I had to represent again, huh? Nobody better. Anyway, we got to get right to the action because it was a busy week. We had a ton of games and we might be here for a little while. Just look here, starting Monday, April 15th, 2, 4, 6, 7 games that we need to run down. So I better get right to it. We're going to start out in Lake City where the Tigers were taking on the Cobras of Triton. Lake City would take the lead in the bottom of the 4th, 5-4, then blow this game out of the water. 7 runs in the 6th to win it, 13-9 behind a monster game by Adelaide Benedict, who accounted for 5 RBIs and 2 runs scored. We got to run down the box score here. Triton, 9 runs on 11 hits, 4 errors, but then Lake City, look at this, 3 runs in the 3rd, 2 in the 4th, 1 in the 5th, 7 in the 6th inning. That was all they needed. 13-9 was final score. Triton, 9 runs on 11 hits, 4 errors. Lake City, 13 runs on 17 hits, 5 errors for the Tigers. Here you run down the stats. Adelaide Benedict, I said she had a huge game. 3 for 4, 5 RBIs, 2 runs scored. Madison Skifton, 3 for 4 with 2 runs scored. Kylie Mann, their shortstop, 2 for 4 with a home run, 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored. Lucy Stewart, 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored. Jillian Hoyer, 2 for 5 with 2 runs scored. Stevie Jostick, 2 for 2 with a run scored. And Isabel Welch, 2 for 4 with a run scored. That's 2, 4, 6, 7 girls with multi-hit games, accounting for 17 of those Lake City hits. Amazing. Next up, Austin, who has been looking really good lately. Really good. They played Byron. They beat Byron. They played Stewartville to a 1-run game. Now facing a very good Kasson-Mantorville team. Abby Simons got things going off on the right foot for the Comets. A solo shot to right field, getting the rally going. Then a single for Meyer, a double for Mann, and a triple for Farnsworth. That put the lead 3-0 in favor of Kasson-Mantorville. Austin would score 4 in the top of the 4th. Kasson would tie it up in the bottom half of the inning. It was tied 6-6 after 5 innings, but then the floodgates open for the Comets in the bottom of the 6th inning. 4 runs on 5 hits to put this one away. Comets win 10-6 on Parents' Night behind a solid night by Cara Farnsworth. I believe every Comet was able to was able to get a hit on the night. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's true. They had 10 runs on 12 hits, 4 errors. Austin, 6 runs on 6 hits and 2 errors. Some highlights here for the Comets. Cara Farnsworth had a huge night. 3 for 4 with a double, a triple, 2 RBIs and a run scored. Then you had Kylie Meyer, 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and a run scored. You have Abby Simons. I said she got it started off on the right foot with that solo shot. Well, here it is, 2 for 3 with that home run, 2 runs scored. Then you have Callie Richards, been playing really well this year, her senior season, 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run scored. Andrea Fitch, Grace Mann, and Emily Olsen, each of those girls had doubles for the Comets. Then we move on to Goodhue, taking on the Houston Hurricanes. Houston Hurricanes, probably one of the cooler mascots for a high school in Minnesota, if you ask me. Goodhue, they fell down early as Houston scored 3 runs in the 1st inning, but the Wildcats came back to score 2 in the 2nd and 2 in the 3rd. It ended up being tied up at 4 after 3 innings. A run for Goodhue in the top of the 4th was the last time someone crossed the plate as Goodhue wins it in a nail biter, carries the HVL. Hey, when teams are doing non-conference games, we cheer for the HVL. So big win here by Goodhue, 5-4. Let's run on the box score. Goodhue, 2 runs in the second, 2 runs in the third, 1 run in the 4th, and then you see it was scoreless the rest of the way. Goodhue, 5-4 over Houston. You see the team picture here. Coach Lundak obviously very happy. Morgan Rader pitching. She got the W for the Wildcats. Izzy O'Reilly, I heard, had some incredible plays at first base. You need a strong vacuum over there at first. It looks like she's doing the job right now for Goodhue. That was Goodhue over Houston, 5-4. HVL, baby. Another non-conference game. The Lourdes Eagles, they went on the road to face the Medford Tigers. Maybe stopped at the outlet malls. Maybe spent a little money. I don't know if the bus made a detour. Who knows? Nobody told me. But either way, if there was any indication on how the bats would look for Lourdes on Monday afternoon, Allie Restovich answered that in emphatic fashion with a solo home run on the 4th pitch of the game over center field, and she didn't slow down the rest of the game. She racked up another 3 hits, 2 of those triples. Eagles had plenty of girls multi-hit games to lead Lourdes to 16 hits on the day, winning this game 9-6 over Medford. Let's talk about those girls that had the multi-hits. First, run down the box score, 2 runs in the first, 2 runs in the second, 2 runs in the third, 1 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th for Lourdes, 9 runs on 16 hits, 6 errors. Medford had 6 runs on 5 hits and 3 errors. And I talked about plenty of girls having multi-hit games. Well, here's the 5 of them. Allie Restovich, huge game for her. 4 for 4 with a home run, 2 triples, 3 RBIs, 2 runs scored. Grace Boyson, 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs, a run scored. Reagan Rowley, family favorite there, 2 for 4 for Rowley, the 8th grader. Grace Carney, 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs. Kate Fredericks, 2 for 3 with 2 runs scored. And then the pitchers, Dolman, Rowley, and Weineke, 7 innings pitched. They combined 3 earned runs and 7 strikeouts. Big win for the Eagles. Again, representing the HVL and bringing it home for the greatest conference in Minnesota. Next up is the Randolph Rockets. They were in town to take on the Panthers in Pine Island. Randolph jumped out early with 4 runs in the first, slowly built on that lead and would end up winning 10-0. Tough game here for Pine Island. As you can see, the Randolph team won 10 runs on 11 hits, no errors. Pine Island unfortunately could not gather a hit, no runs on no hits and 1 error, but Coach Jones did say she was really proud of the attitude that her pitchers had in this game. It would be easy to get down. You hear me talk about this, at least in some of my other podcasts with Stewartville, that the character is shown when things aren't going well. It's easy to be happy. It's easy to be a great teammate. It's easy to give a lot of effort when things are going well and when you're winning. But when you're down and things are a little bit tougher, which we know softball's a roller coaster, some ups, some downs, you're never going to be too high, never going to be too low. But Pine Island, she was very proud of her players and kind of keeping that great attitude. So that is great to hear. Pine Island, you could see here, Caitlin Laram, Sophia Polzer, and Lily Ryder, who I believe is just an 8th grader, combined for 7 Ks. And then, like I said, Coach Kim Jones, very happy with their attitude and just keep coming back. Next up, you have Zumbrota-Mazeppa. They welcomed a Wisconsin team here. You're probably thinking that was Goodhue. It's actually a Panther, the Ellsworth Panthers from Wisconsin. I believe Ellsworth, pretty solid team, record of 6-1 coming into this game, and they can hit the ball. Unfortunately for Zumbrota-Mazeppa, and obviously all of us HVL fans, Ellsworth racked up 17 hits while the Cougars could only muster 2 runs on the day. The Panthers from Wisconsin would win this one in 5 innings. 13-2 was the final score. Ellsworth, 13 runs on 17 hits, 2 errors. Zumbrota-Mazeppa had 2 runs, all of them coming in the 3rd inning. 4 hits, 1 error. In terms of the highlights, Cameron Covers and Addie Liffrig, each of them were 1 for 2 on the day. Next up, Stewartville against Dover-Eyota. Little bit of a tangent here, and I hope you're okay with me going out on this. We had this game circled on our calendar at home. My home, I'm talking about, not Stewartville, so my home. Not because we have a huge rivalry or we were looking for revenge of any sort, but really because of the friendships we have built with a few families from this particular softball program in Dover-Eyota. Crystal and I, first came across Chad and Wendy Foster back when we were coaching 10U, Stewartville Rebels, Dover-Eyota Storm. And you want to talk about some incredible youth softball coaches, you start with the Fosters. I mean, their knowledge of the game, their ability to teach the fundamentals. And what was probably most admirable for me was their ability to always find the positive for each of their players. In a world where you find so many youth coaches choosing to yell at players and find every little small thing they can try to fix or every negative out there, we were witness to these two building confidence and instilling a positive self-image in these young girls that are playing a really tough game, regardless of the girls' skill level. And just by being around them and watching them coach, we feel like they made us better youth coaches. We have admired the Fosters from afar, obviously Dover-Eyota and Stewartville, for several years, really. And we were super fortunate. We feel super fortunate that we got to spend time with them this past summer when Brooklyn played with their daughter, Aubrey, on the Minnesota Sticks. You know, that's who I'm representing. And for as good as coaches as those two are, probably better people. Chad, first person to compliment parents on something their daughters did during the game. Coming back to that same coach that we saw from afar, just always finding the positive in those 8 and 9-year-old girls. Well, he's doing it with players that are on his daughter's team too. And in a society that is so quick for a parent to come over to you and to brag about their own kid or go out of their way to tell you how great their kid is, it is so refreshing to have a guy like Chad Foster and his wife Wendy with kids that are obviously absolute studs. To not only be humble about that, about their own kids and the skill that they bring to a team and their worth, but at times they're actually pretty self-deprecating. It's kind of funny, just choosing to return that focus on the other parents' kids and what those kids did well. Last summer we got 2 for the price of 1, and I'll take it. You know, 2 for the price of 1, and I'm talking about the Hansons, Adam and Chanel, and then their girls Nora and Addie. Just fantastic people who are about as easy to talk to as anybody. Adam, literally a guy that would probably give you the shirt off his back if he needed it. He put so much effort this past summer into giving opportunities for our travel team to bond by getting tailgates together, working his tail off just to benefit others. He's a guy that I saw develop a bond with one of the younger brothers on the team, a kid that lost his dad, even showing up to this kid's football game to show his support and kind of be that male influence in his life. I mean, you won't find many better families out there, and if you get the chance to talk with this crew, the Fosters, the Hansons, I suggest you take it. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. I don't know if there's ever been a time that I've walked away from those families without having a bunch of laughs, my side hurting most of the time. We need more people like that around, looking for the positives, supporting others, and lifting others up when they need a word of encouragement, especially those teenage girls that might not listen to those words of encouragement from their parents. They might not listen. To have somebody like Chad or Adam or Wendy come over and tell them, hey, you know, you did this well, I think it's really huge for those girls building their confidence. But also as a parent, I'm super grateful. I know that we appreciate the heck out of them, and we are so lucky to have them in our circle. And I know I spent some time away from the actual game here at Stewartville versus Dover-Eyota, but if you listen to episode number 1, this right here, the relationships, the incredible families with the amazing kids are exactly why I tried to start this, why I hope to shine a spotlight on the softball players and the softball families with this platform. The wins and the stats and the great games, they're all nice to talk about and they're fun. But what I will always remember is how people treat me, and more importantly, how they treat my family, especially my 2 daughters, and put these 2 families right at the top of that list. So if you're out there listening, I want to say to them, thank you. Thank you for, you know, treating us so well, for being those positive role models and coaches that these girls can look up to. It's just incredible and quite humbling. Dover-Eyota, and we had this game circled on our calendar at home for a long time, but because of the friendships that we had, just very, very appreciative for those people. And I guess I can't say enough good things. Moving on to the game. To this game, non-conference matchup here, and it was a pitching battle. Addie Eckerman on the mound for Stewartville, and the aforementioned Aubrey Foster chucking for Dover-Eyota. It was scoreless in the first. Stewartville got on the board first with an RBI double by Shayla Shavasta, scoring. I believe we have the video here. This is Savannah Hedin getting on. She's been hotter than a pistol. Incredible. And then the one girl that can silence the crowd, Shayla Shavasta. off the fence, almost to the fence. RBI double, scoring Hedin. That would make it 1-0 Tigers after 2. Stewartville would score another 2 in the top of the 3rd. Haley Lourdes would draw a walk. You see there, Addie Eckerman was dealing. Just incredible, though. Stewartville would score 2 more in the top of the 3rd, would take a 3-run lead. Dover-Eyota would get 1 on the board, make it 3-1. In terms of those 2 runs in the 3rd inning, if I'm remembering correctly, I believe Haley Lourdes draw a walk. Then Kaylee Learman had, I believe, her second perfect sacrifice bunt on the night. Sydney Clark would reach on an error, making it 1st and 3rd with 1 out. Next up was Kayla Byrne. Absolutely steps on one. We thought it was gone, went off the fence. Laura scores, Clark 3rd, and then Savannah Dean, like I said, hottest hitter in the HVL. Line drive single up the middle. That would score Clark. I'm already jumping ahead a little bit. Don't want to do that. Hedin. Speaking of Hedin, starts the season off 8 for 8. Incredible. 8 for 8. Her first 8 at-bats, and I think she walked twice or got hit by a pitch once and got a walk once. So 10 for 10 in terms of plate appearances and reaching base. Perfect 1,000 through her first 10 at-bats. Eagles, like I said, they would answer back in the 4th, but that's all they could muster. It would be a single by Bannett, and she would steal second. Palmby rips one up the middle. Bannett would score, but Addie Ackerman would get 2 strikeouts to end the threat. Foster and Ackerman would go back and forth. 5th, 6th, 7th inning, you could see it was scoreless, and this one is in favor of Stewartville. 3 runs on 8 hits, no errors. Dover-Eyota 1 run on 3 hits, 2 errors. That's the box score we have going on. I know we usually run right into the HVL, but I think you have to give a lot of credit to the way Aubrey Foster pitched against this Tiger team. It was a team that was averaging almost 11 runs a game, and to hold them to only 3 on the day, she was really mixing up her pitches, using her off speed really well, buckling down in key situations. She left 9 Tiger runners stranded, including getting out of a bases loaded jam with nobody out in the 4th inning. No runs came across in that inning. I was also super impressed with the cannon arm of 3rd baseman Jaden Dahl. She looks to be a stud, probably one of the best players in the TRC. Miranda Palmby was outstanding, 2 for 3 on the day. I thought she did a really great job behind the plate. But this day belonged to one girl alone. It was Addie Ackerman. Unbelievable. The junior left-hander. I'm going to run it for you here. These are the outs of the game in order for Addie Ackerman, and you can see how dominant she was. 17 strikeouts. Look at all those Ks. Every underline there is a new inning. She struck out the side several times, only allowed 3 hits and that 1 run. It was amazing. This was only her 2nd varsity start, and she did this against a really talented Dover-Eyota team. I mean, come on. Addie Ackerman, I don't think I've watched her pitched the last couple years, and in dome ball, I thought she was fantastic. This may have been one of her best performances, and if you have Sydney Clark and Addie Ackerman pitching for us like that, the Tigers are going to be something to watch. It's going to be fun. Who else do we have? Savannah Hedin, 3 for 4 with an RBI and a run scored. That brings her batting average to like 900 or something. It's just incredible. Kayla Byrne, 2 for 4 with an RBI. We had Shayla Shavasta. I said she can quiet down the crowd. Shayla Shavasta, whoever's announcing the games, you better learn that name right now. 1 for 3 with an RBI double, and I guarantee you will hear her name in just a few minutes at the next game. Haley Lourdes, 1 for 3. Our center fielder had a run scored. Stolen base. She's got some wheels. Sydney Clark, 1 for 4 with a run scored. Kaylee Learman, I put her on here because a pitcher does not get 17 strikeouts without an amazing catcher behind her. The 2 sacrifice bunts that Kaylee Learman laid down, and then the way she controlled the game behind the plate. Catchers are one of the most they're like the offensive linemen of football, but for softball. One of the most underappreciated on the field. They do all the dirty work. They have one of the toughest jobs on the field. Sometimes they get beat up trying to block balls. Kaylee Learman, can't say enough good things about her behind the plate. And the glue that holds this team together. So really want to give her a shout out. Tuesday, April 16th. Rain, and more rain. Boo! Games rescheduled for this day. I won't even run it down. I'll try to catch up on them later. You can see my favorite team here. I'm just essentially put rain game for baseball, and I saw this Yankee picture pull up, so I put it on there. Thursday, though, we were back in action April 18th. If we were handing out what in the HVL day of games or day of the week or anything like this, Thursday, April 18th may be the one. And I think you're going to find out why here real quick. First up, Kasson-Mantorville sitting at 3-2, taking on Cannon Falls, who comes in at 3-3. But both of those losses were to powerhouses Zumbrota-Mazeppa and Chatfield. Two great teams in the HVL conference. Kasson-Mantorville, Cannon Falls. Kasson-Mantorville would score first in the top of the third. Cara Farnsworth would reach on a single to the left side, eventually make it around to third base, and with one out, Andrea Fitch hits a sacrifice fly to left, scoring Farnsworth, making it 1-0. Cannon Falls would tie it up in the bottom of the fifth. Anna Ritz singled to the right side, scored on a Maya Meng double. That would make it 1-1. In the top of the sixth, with 2 outs and 2 on, Emily Olsen hits a double to center field, scoring Richards and Simons, and that would do it. Comets win this one 3-1 on the road. Incredible game here. As you can see, Comets 3 runs on 6 hits, 2 errors. Cannon Falls just 1 run on 6 hits and 2 errors. In terms of box score, Cannon Falls, Allie Pagel, 7 innings pitched, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 8 strikeouts. Maya Meng had that huge RBI double. She was 2 for 4 on the day. In terms of Kasson-Mantorville, let's run it down. Emily Olsen was fantastic. 17 innings pitch, a complete game, 6 hitter, 1 earned run, 13 strikeouts for Olsen. She was also 1 for 3 with that 2 RBI double that essentially sealed the deal for the Comets. You got it. If you had a player of the game, I think you're pointing to number 12 right here in the white and blue. Callie Richards 2 for 3 with a double. And I actually asked her, you look at this picture on the right side, I said, hey, Callie, do you have a favorite podcast out there? Do you have something you like listening to? And look what she's pointing at. What in the HVL is her favorite? Thank you, Callie, for the support. Next up, Cara Farnsworth 1 for 3 with a run scored. Coach Mann there, he's locked in at third base. Then you got Grace Mann 1 for 3 for her. Obviously, great squaring up on a ball right here in that left picture. Kylie Meyer 1 for 3 for her as well. Next up, Lake City at Goodhue. I said the good games don't stop on this day. Well, they didn't. Goodhue coming off that 1-run win over Houston. Lake City took the lead right away on back-to-back singles by Kylie Mann and Stevie Jostock, making it 1-0 after 1. Goodhue took that lead back in the bottom of the third. Morgan Rader hit a double to center field, followed by an Aubrey Christensen single, putting 2 on with 1 out. Rader would score on a pass ball, and Aubrey would follow her in on a ground ball by Sierra Karlstrom, making it 2-1 Goodhue after 3 innings. Lake City would tie it up in the top of the 7th. Grace Morrissey led off the inning with a double to center field, would later score on a pass ball, so we would be going to extra innings. 3 straight hits by Rumley, Benedict, and Mann would plate 1 and put 2 on with no outs. Jostock would reach base on a fielder's choice, bases loaded, and a Corey walk would bring another run in as it was 4-2 in favor of Lake City. And if you know one thing about Goodhue, is that they don't stop fighting. Morgan Rader singled to the left side. Aubrey Christensen reached base on an error, which brought Rader all the way around to score. Wildcats now still down 1. Sierra Karlstrom singles to the left side, moving Aubrey to third base. Karlstrom would steal second, putting girls on second and third. A ball to the backstop would allow Christensen to score the game, and that would tie it up. And up steps to the plate the other Christensen, Lola, who has been fantastic this season. And Lola rips a shot to left field, scoring Karlstrom as this one is over. And the Wildcats win a thriller in front of their hometown fans. 5-4 was the final score. What a game. Kasson-Mantorville, Cannon Falls, and now Lake City Goodhue. Are you kidding me? Lake City 4 runs on 6 hits, no errors. Goodhue 5 runs on 8 hits and 3 errors. In terms of statistics, Grace Morrissey 1 for 3, a double and a run scored for the Tigers. Adelaide Benedict 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run scored. Ella Rumley 1 for 4, double and a run scored. She pitched all 8 innings, 8 hits, 3 earned runs, 6 strikeouts. I don't know if it's true 8 innings. It might be like 7 2/3. I must have wrote that quick. Either way, she did a pretty fantastic job holding Goodhue in check for as long as she could. In terms of the Goodhue Wildcats, Lola Christensen 3 for 4 with an RBI. Aubrey Christensen 2 for 4 with a double, an RBI, 2 runs scored, and a stolen base. Morgan Rader 2 for 3 with a double, 2 runs scored, a stolen base, and Emma Voth 8 innings pitched, 6 hits, only 1 earned run, and 8 strikeouts. Great game there by Voth. Morgan Rader, Coach Lundak here. She's saying, get in there, Rader. Let's go, Morgan. She's pumped. I'm sure there was an intense game. You got Kylie Mandelkow here picking up a ball, essentially staring down the runner like, I dare you to go. I dare you to test my arm. Another picture here, pretty cool moment. Emma Voth, Lola Christensen embracing after Lola hits that game-winning RBI, and they're lining it up as this one is over in favor of Goodhue. 5-4 was the final score. Then you have Lourdes taking on the PEM Bulldogs. Lourdes in Plainview, Elgin, Millville. So you got to cheer for Lourdes because this is a non-conference game and they are in the HVL. And you are listening to What in the HVL? And for this game, Lourdes bats were hot hot against the Bulldogs. The Eagles put up 8 runs in the first 4 innings and scored in all but 2 innings as they represented the HVL. Ended this one winning 11-5, I believe it was. Let me quick check here. Yeah, 11-5. Big days for Allie Restovich, Anna Weinke, and Grace Boyson. Let's see what the numbers show. Yeah, Allie Restovich, 3 for 5, a double, a triple, 3 runs scored, an RBI, a stolen base. Leah Winicky, 2 for 4, RBI, a run scored. Younger sister Anna, 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs, 3 runs scored. Grace Boyson, 2 for 4 with an RBI, 2 runs scored. Kate Fredericks, 2 for 4 with 2 runs scored. Reagan Rowley and Amelie Dolman were the pitchers. If I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to think if Amelie Dolman got the win and Reagan Rowley got the save. I can't remember how that works out, but either way, Rowley, 3 innings pitched, 3 hits, 0 earned runs, 3 strikeouts. Amelie Dolman, 4 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 5 strikeouts. She was also 1 for 4 at the plate with 2 RBIs. Great game there by Lourdes. 11 runs on 13 hits. Coach Mackin has got to be excited about that. Now we're on to my team. It was Pine Island at Stewartville. It was windy and cold in Tiger Nation, and this one turned into a home run derby, it seemed. Haley Lourdes for Stewartville saw about 1 pitch before she left the yard, hit a tank to left field, solo home run. That made it 1-0. Each team would score 1 in the 3rd to make it 2-1 Tigers. Pine Island would tie it up in the top of the 4th as Severson would get hit by a pitch. Laram with a beautiful sacrifice bunt to move her over, and eventually Severson would score on a ball that got to the backstop. That tie game didn't last for long because this happened next. Savannah Hadeen, hottest hitter in the HVL. Savannah Hadini makes that one disappear. Incredible. A bomb for her. Then, not just that, Katrina McCluskey would get her first varsity hit, and it drove Veronica Mitchell in. That made it 4-2 Stewartville after 4. Kim Jones had Pine Island fighting till the end, though. In the top of the 6th, Riley Severson reached on an error, and then right here, we got to give you the next video. Caitlin Laram hits a double to the fence. That would score Severson. Laram would score on a Jane Volts ground out, and the Panthers had this thing all knotted up at 4. Back-to-back singles in the bottom of the 6th inning. Back-to-back singles by Savannah Dean and Veronica Mitchell, and then a perfect bunt by Addie Ackerman. That loaded the bases with nobody out, and then this next thing happens right here. Shayla Shavasa steps up, and Club Shay Shay is popping in Tiger Nation. She puts that one into orbit, a grand slam, and the Tigers would win this one 8-4 on the back of Shayla Shavasta. Look at this, she's pumped. We're pumped. 8-4. Thanks to KAL TV for getting us that video. Incredible bomb for the junior second baseman. You see it here. Pine Island, 4 runs on 3 hits, 1 error. Stewartville, 8 runs on 9 hits, 1 error. 3 home runs for the Tigers. Amazing. In terms of statistics, Caitlin Laram, 6 innings pitched, 9 hits, 7 earned runs, 2 strikeouts. She was 1 for 2 at the plate with that double and a run scored. Sophia Polzer, 1 for 3, and then Barnett, 1 for 3 for her in terms of Pine Island. Then you got Stewartville. Sydney Clark was fantastic on the mound. It was tough to pitch with this wind, but she did a pretty good job. Complete game, 7 innings, only 3 hits, 2 earned runs, and 12 strikeouts for the sophomore. Not just that. Here's Kaylee Learman and Sydney Clark on the mound getting ready. Not just that for Sydney Clark. How about this? Sydney Clark, 100 strikeouts already for her career, and she's on her way to 200. It's probably mathematically possible, depending on how many games she pitches, but with her and Addie Ackerman going back and forth, both of them fantastic pitchers, we are happy she has hit the century mark, just a sophomore. Who knows, 300, 400? Nothing is impossible for Sydney Clark, one of the best pitchers ever to come through Tiger Nation. Savannah Hadeen, I said she's been hotter than a pistol in terms of how she's been hitting, 2 for 3 with that solo shot home run. Veronica Mitchell, she absolutely plastered one off the fence. I believe it was in the 2nd inning. That was for her, one of her 3 hits, 3 for 3 with 2 runs scored and a stolen base for the senior shortstop. Haley Lourdes, 1 for 4 with that solo shot in the 1st inning. That started the Tigers off. And then Shayla Shavasta, 1 for 3 with a home run and 4 RBIs. It was a grand slam. Incredible. Club Shay Shay there in Tiger Nation. 8-4 was the final. Now we move on to the game of the week. I said that this was the day of the week, if you will, in terms of games when you talk about Goodhue's game, and you talked about the Kasson-Mantorville game, and you talk about the Stewartville game ended on that grand slam. Well, the game of the week, incredible. Listen to this. Zumbrota-Mazeppa at Byron, two of the best teams in the conference. We talk about the HVL. Zumbrota-Mazeppa 4-1, Byron 4-2. Both of them were at the top of the conference last year. Zumbrota-Mazeppa beat Byron. Well, they're going head-to-head earlier this year, and the winner of this game is kind of putting themselves in the driver's seat. Two of the top teams for many years, again in 2024, so you've come to the right show if you want to hear about good softball here. This one was a thriller. It was tied 4-4 after 6 innings. The Cougars dropped a 3 spot in the top of the 7th with All-State pitcher Cameron Covers on the mound looking for those final 3 outs to seal the deal. Well, Leah Bendix, let me show you this. I think I got the video. She picked a real good time for her first home run ever. Top of the 7th. Solo shot here. This one's gone for Bendix. That's not a short fence either. That looks like a 10-foot high fence. Doesn't matter. Bendix is able to clear it, narrowed the lead to just 2, but swinging the momentum in favor of Byron. Tally Behrens was on base after a walk with 2 outs when freshman Cadence Firstead drove Behrens in on a base hit to make it 7-6, still in favor of Zumbrota-Mazeppa. Firstead makes her way. I believe she was still at first when Max Steele, the other half of those fab freshmen for Byron, came up to the plate. Both of those girls won Athletes of the Week last week for With. Well, Max Steele was able to bring Cadence around with the help of an error by Zumbrota-Mazeppa. Tie game, Steele goes to second. Look at Firstead rolling around. Byron's pumped. That's going to tie the game up. Max Steele would eventually make it. She's on second there. She would eventually make it to third. I think it was on a stolen base, but great play here by Angerman. Amelia Angerman, the first baseman. Byron tries to bunt it down to get Steele in. She flips it to the plate, and they get the tag. This one is going to extra innings. Byron and Max Steele on the mound would shut down the Cougars in the top of the 8th. Leah Bendix, again, she would deliver for Byron a 1-out. It was scored as a double. It looks like a single with a fielding error. Either way, she ends up on second base. Zumbrota-Mazeppa would intentionally walk Tally Behrens, then Culver's hit Leah Strain to load the bases with just 1 out, and in steps Cadence Firstead. Already 3 for 5 for the day, and she walks it off. Cadence Firstead, an incredible freshman. I tried to tell you in episode 1 how good of a hitter Cadence is. Well, she made me look like a genius in this game. A walk-off single driven to the right side. Bendix scores. Byron ends another game in thrilling fashion. The final score in this one, 8-7. Byron. Wow. Zumbrota-Mazeppa, 7 runs on 9 hits, 4 errors. Byron, 8 runs on 13 hits and 4 errors. Zumbrota-Mazeppa, Megan Jasperson, 2 for 4 with 2 runs scored. Melanie Rash, 2 for 4 with a double RBI and runs scored. Cameron Covers, she's one of the top pitchers in the conference. She threw 192 pitches in 8 innings. Are you kidding? I don't know how her arm is still on, but she will do that for her team. She put them on her back and said, I will do everything I can. She struck out 9. She was also 2 for 4 at the plate with an RBI, thanks to the Post Bulletin for some of these amazing pictures. You also have Paisley Peterson for the Cougars, 3 for 4 in RBI and 3 runs scored, a name you've been hearing a lot about in the HVL as we've been following along with this good Zumbrota-Mazeppa team. Then you look at Byron, Leah Bendix, incredible time to come alive. 2 straight hits, late innings, 2 for 5 with a home run, a double, and 2 runs scored. Leah Strayed, Macy Behringer, and Kate Ahern, a 1 hit each. I believe Ahern was a pinch hit that came up huge. Tally Behrens, she started off pitching 5 innings, pitched 4 hits, 4 runs, 7 strikeouts for the lefty, and then she was 1 for 2 with an RBI. And people are a little bit nervous about her. That's why she might see more intentional walks as the season comes on. Cadence Firstead, 4 for 6. She had 6 at-bats and had 4 hits, had a double, 3 RBIs, and the walk-off RBI single to win it. She also scored the game-tying run. I don't have that on there. I don't know why, but I'm telling you about it. The sweet swinging lefty, Cadence Firstead. Max Steele, she was 3 for 5. Those two making me look like I know what I'm talking about, giving them Athletes of the Week last week for what in the HVL. Well, they came through in a big way against one of the best teams in the HVL. Max Steele, 3 for 5, and then got the win on the mound as she came in late. 3 innings pitched, 5 hits, 3 runs, and 4 strikeouts. Wow. What a game. What a game. That leads us into Friday. I don't have it there, but this is the only game Friday. It was number 2 state-ranked Winona Windhawks coming to Tiger Nation to take on the 4-0 4-0. Stewartville Tigers. It's almost like Coach Muller's coaching this. All he does is win. Well, it's 4-0 undefeated Tigers, and this was going to be one of the biggest tests of early on in the season for them. It was cold. Cold Friday night, so I felt bad for the girls out there on the field, especially these catchers that were having to take like 60-mile-an-hour fastballs off freezing cold hands. The pitchers, though, seemed to block it out because they were incredible. It was an incredible matchup for Winona. Lauren Krakow, the Windhawks ace, who threw a no-hitter with 11 strikeouts against Rochester Century just a few games ago. And then for Stewartville, junior left-hander Addie Eckerman, who you've already heard about, coming off that 17 strikeout performance on Monday against Dover-Eyota. It was scoreless through 4, and Addie Eckerman carried a no-hit bid through 5. She had 15 straight outs. Incredible. In the bottom of the 5th is where Stewartville struck first. After Shayla Shavasta, the hero from the Pine Island game, walked, then Brielle Johnson would hit a pop fly single to shallow right field. That would put 2 on with nobody out. And into the box steps a girl I'm familiar with, 8th grader Brooklyn Peterson. She's back on the field after missing most of the week with an injury. Only her second varsity at bat. And I have to show you the video because my friend Craig Clark got it on video. Here it is. 2-2 count. Here comes a pitch in an absolute piss missile to left field. You can't see it over the scoreboard. One of the biggest bombs I've ever seen hit in Tiger Nation. I mean, Macy Borowski might have challenged it if it didn't hit the scoreboard. Brooklyn puts it over the scoreboard. An absolute tank. Incredible. That is 3-0 Stewartville, but Stewartville was not done yet. Kayla Byrne would single with 2 outs, and then Savannah Hadeen, the hottest start to a season for Stewartville hitting I've seen in quite some time. Already a home run the night before against Pine Island. She hits another nuke, a 2-run shot to put Stewartville up 5-0 after 5 innings. Eckerman would blank the Windhawks in the 6th inning. The Tigers would put another run on the board with an RBI single by Sydney Clark, scoring Brielle Johnson, and Winona was down to their last 3 outs, but with 2 outs, Winona would string together 3 straight hits and score 3 runs, but Eckerman slammed the door shut, striking out the final batter to complete the upset win by the Stewartville Tigers over the number 2 state-ranked Winona Windhawks. What a game! Incredible game here. Let's move it along to the box score. Winona, 3 runs on only 4 hits. They committed 3 errors. Stewartville, a big 5th inning, with 2 home runs, 6 runs on 8 hits and 1 error. Addie Eckerman has been absolutely lights out this week. The Dover-Eyota game, and now she faces one of the best teams in the state. And she's never phased. She's got straight face. No matter what happens, she is locked in on the mound. 7 innings pitched, only 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 8 strikeouts for the junior left-hander. She was also 2 for 3 at the plate, helping her own cause. Then you had Brooklyn Peterson here, 1 for 2 with the 3-run home run there in the 5th inning. She went in at left field, kind of in the middle of the game, but squared up on one and sent that thing to TC, as my buddy Tony Learman would say. Incredible. I think she also grittied, you can see in the left picture. Probably like her mom, Dad's probably not much of a showboat. He's more humble. He doesn't get as excited, but she was very pumped. That was, I believe, her first home run over the fence. I've seen every at-bat of hers, whether it be in person or on video, of her entire life, and that was the furthest ball I've ever seen her hit. So very proud of her and was very pumped up. Savannah Hadeen, 1 for 3, another home run for the senior first baseman, 2-run home run in that big 5th inning. Brielle Johnson stepped in. I thought she did a fantastic job. She reached base both times she was up. She was 1 for 1 with a walk, scored 2 runs. We needed all of them. Incredible job by the senior, Brielle Johnson. Sydney Clark, Kayla Byrne, and Veronica Mitchell had 1 hit each. Veronica Mitchell's was a double, and then Sydney Clark's was that RBI single that scored Johnson. That's all I got for you up until Friday. I know Saturday was a busy game with the Rochester Complex hosting a tournament, so I'm going to step aside here. I'm going to wait till those results come in, and then I'll finish episode number 4. So stay tuned to What in the HVL, only on the Razzle Dazzle channel. Hey, thanks for staying with us. We have Saturday action, a few games at least that I got the results for, a few stats coming my way. I do not have all of them, but we do the best we can. We'll get through these Saturday, April 20th games, and then we'll get you out of here for episode 4, because I'm sure if you're anything like Stewartville softball, you have a busy week in front of you, and we'll get you ready for that. In terms of Saturday, April 20th, let's start with Kasson-Mantorville. This was at the Rochester Softball Complex. I believe a lot of teams were playing there. The first game was against the St. Paul Central Patriots. Cara Farnsworth would be fantastic, throwing a one-hitter and striking out 11 while getting plenty of run support from her teammates. Comets would win this one 12-0. As you see, St. Paul Central, 0 runs on just 1 hit, no errors. Kasson-Mantorville had 2 runs in the first, 2 in the second, 3 in the third, and 5 of them in the fourth. That ended this one 12 runs on 9 hits, 0 errors. For stats, Cara Farnsworth, you heard me say 5 innings pitched, 11 strikeouts, only 1 hit, no run scored. Allie Gronke, 2 for 3 with a double, 3 runs and 2 RBIs. Andrea Fitch, 2 for 2, 3 RBIs, 2 runs scored. Janae Sandstrom, 2 for 2 with 3 runs scored and an RBI. Richard, Simons, and Dubois each had a hit. That goes to game number 2. Kasson-Mantorville was taking on the Randolph Rockets, 2 teams that NASA would obviously be interested in, Comets and Rockets, but it was all Randolph in this game behind star pitcher Carter Raymond, and the Rockets would win 11-0. Kasson-Mantorville would get 4 hits, no runs, had 4 errors. Randolph 11 runs on 9 hits and 1 error. In terms of stats, Callie Richards was 2 for 2, Grace Mann 1 for 2, and Janae Sandstrom 1 for 2. That accounts for the Comets' 4 hits. They were all done for the day. Lake City was in action. They would be taking on the Plaine Tigers. So a battle of the Tigers. Still not my favorite Tigers, which is the Stewartville Tigers, baby. But anyway, Plaine would score 3 runs in the first inning. Lake City would score 1 in the top of the second, but after that, it was all Plaine. 9-1 was the final score. We got Lake City 1 run on 4 hits, 4 errors. Plaine 9 runs on 10 hits and 2 errors. Lake City, Adelaide Benedict 1 for 4. Stevie Jostick 1 for 3. Madison Skifton 1 for 2 with the lone RBI, and then Zoe Munson 1 for 1. Game 2 for Lake City against another powerhouse, Chatfield. Chatfield jumped out to a 7-0 lead after 3 innings and then cruised. 11-1 was the final. Chatfield, 11 runs on 11 hits, 1 error. Lake City, 1 run, just the one in the bottom of the 7th, 2 hits, 5 errors. And those 2 hits, Kylie Mann, solo home run. That was the run accounted for in the 7th inning. Grace Morrissey also had a hit for the Tigers. Lourdes had 2 games as well. The first game, game 1, Battle of the Birds here. Eagles taking on the Cardinals of Willmar. It was a 2-1 game in favor of the Eagles before Lourdes exploded for 3 runs in the 4th inning, 3 in the 5th, and it was all over. 8-2 was the final score as Lourdes took advantage of 5 Willmar errors. Willmar, 2 runs on 9 hits and 5 errors. They actually out-hit Lourdes, but those 5 errors really cost them. Lourdes scored 2 in the 2nd, 3 in the 4th, 3 in the 5th. That accounted for their 8 runs on 4 hits, no errors. Amelie Dolman pitched every inning, 7 innings, 9 hits, 2 earned runs, 6 strikeouts at the plate. Dolman was 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored. Ali Restovich was 1 for 3 with a double and RBI. Reagan Rowley 1 for 3 with 2 runs scored. Avery Washniewski 1 for 2 with 2 RBIs and a run scored. Next up was Lourdes against Simley. This one didn't start out well, didn't end well. Simley came out firing with 5 runs in the first inning. Both teams put up 3 in the 3rd, but Simley had another 5-run inning in the 5th to run away in 6 innings. It stopped in the 6th, 14-4 with the 10-run rule. In terms of stats, 14 runs on 13 hits and 1 error for Simley. Lourdes, 4 runs on 6 hits and 3 errors. Leah Winicky, what a game for her. 2 for 2, solo home run for the catcher. Her little sister, Anna Winicky, 2 for 3 with a double and a run scored. Grace Boyson, 1 for 3 with 3 RBIs. And then Reagan Rowley had a double. She was 1 for 3 on the day. Next up is going to be Goodhue against Rushford-Peterson. I know Goodhue had 2 games. By the time I went to recording, I only saw the stats in the post bulletin from the first game, so we'll give you that one. Goodhue would end up winning 11-6. 8. Rushford-Peterson was ahead 2-0 after the first inning. You could see it was 4-2 Rushford-Peterson after 3, but then a snowman in the 4th. Do you want to build a snowman? Goodhue does in the 4th inning. They do 8 runs. That was enough. They would win 11-8. 11 runs on 9 hits, 4 errors. Rushford-Peterson had 8 runs on 14 hits and 4 errors. They just must not have been able to string those hits together. For Goodhue, Morgan Rader, 7 innings pitched, 14 hits, 5 earned runs. Kendra Rader, 2 for 4 with a double, 2 RBIs and a run scored. Aubrey Christensen, 1 for 3, double, 2 runs, an RBI, 2 stolen bases. The Christensen sisters are fast. Kylie Mandelkow, 2 for 3 with a double, 2 RBIs and 3 runs scored. Here's some pictures from that game. As you can see, it was freezing cold. If I thought it was cold last night against Winona, even colder today. I'm sure Lauren Gadian here playing left field for Goodhue. Kind of a sweet sweatshirt there. Kendra Rader going in to score. Coach Lundax probably waving people around. And then Maya Roshan with the hit here. Pretty cool pictures. Thanks to Tom both for those. Now we have to name the WITH Players of the Week. And, you know, it's getting harder and harder to pick just one. And last week I picked 2, and I had started throwing around the possibility of making a list, and maybe we still go to that at some point. But for this week, because I felt like there were such clear delineations, I picked a pitcher of the week, and I picked a player, or kind of like a fielder or hitter of the week. And I hope you're okay with that. We had some fantastic players this week. You heard me talk about them. I think Caden's Firstad was fantastic. She was 4 for 6 with 3 RBIs, a run scored. That walk-off single, she was also the game-tying run scored. She won it last week. Savannah Hadeen has been hot. She was 6 for 10 this week for Stewartville. 2 home runs, 4 RBIs, 4 runs scored. Emily Olson, the way she pitched against Cannon Falls was fantastic. You heard Cara Farnsworth from Kasson-Mantorville has been outstanding. Even today, what was that? 11 strikeouts for her, 1 hitter, and she's hit really well all week. But getting to, those are just players off the top of my head. I apologize if I'm missing anybody. But getting to the 2 standouts, the first one is going to be our pitcher of the week, and it is Addie Ackerman from Stewartville. The junior left-hander was fantastic this week. Don't just think about the stats and what she did. 2 wins, 25 strikeouts, 7 hits, 4 runs scored. On Monday against a really solid Dover-Eyota team, she had a no-hitter going through, I think, 4 or 5. She had 17 strikeouts that game. 17. Then she turns around last night in not great conditions, and she runs a no-hitter through 5 1/3 innings against one of the best teams in the state. And she is able to bring home a win for Stewartville, lead them to an upset win. 6-3 was the final score. So not just the performances, but the way she did it. I think Addie Eckerman is your what in the HVL pitcher of the week out of Tiger Nation. In terms of your player of the week, I think you got to go with Ali Restovich. I only had the stats going through when I put all these players together through the first game of this morning. So I didn't have the Simley game, and I didn't have the second game for Goodhue. So a few of those players, like the Christensen sisters and things like that. Cara Farnsworth, I don't think I had her stats yet when I put this together. But either way, Ali Restovich, I think either way is deserving of this award. The What in the HVL Player of the Week, Restovich, 8 for 12 of the games I had with a home run, 3 triples, 2 doubles, 5 RBIs, 5 runs scored for Restovich. How fantastic is that? Big thanks to Amber Rowley for getting me this picture so that we could shine a spotlight on the amazing Lourdes Eagle that is Ali Restovich. Congrats to Addie Eckerman and Ali Restovich for winning those awards. The week ahead, what's ahead for us? Pretty busy week. It is like the softball season's like a sprint. It's not as much of a marathon. I know Stewartville last week had 4 games scheduled. I believe this week has 4 games, and then I think it's 3-3-4 or something. And I'm sure all of you out there are similar. As you can see in the HVL, 5 games on Monday, 4 games on Tuesday, 3 on Thursday, 6 on Friday, 2 on Saturday. And we will try to get all those put together and get the recast for you in week number 5. The last thing that I wanted to talk about, little what in the HVL thought of the day before I sign you off. Last thought of the day. For the past 9 years, you probably haven't been following me, especially if you're not a Stewartville fan. But for the last 9 years, I've been calling Stewartville games with the broadcasts. I've been doing podcasts. We had a Tiger Nation and Beyond podcast for 5 seasons. We're still running Tuesdays with Muller, our weekly Stewartville football show with Coach Garrett Muller. But over the last 9 years, including now starting this platform highlighting softball, I have tried to build this platform based on promoting others and promoting other people's kids and other athletes. I've talked about so many different athletes. I've talked about families and games and results, and as you have heard this episode in particular, there's this transition that's starting to happen as my kids are getting older, and now they will be the ones playing in the games that I've talked about for so long. And being so wrapped up in everything, sometimes it's easy for me to forget about the amazing support that we as a family here have around us. Seeing Brooklyn hit that home run was one of the coolest experiences I've had as a father, at least in terms of sports, because obviously her performance in sports is not what makes me proud of her. It's not what defines her or Natalie as people. It's how they treat others. But I have so much fun watching my daughters compete in the sports that they love. I appreciated so much how her team celebrated with her. As I know, sometimes younger athletes aren't as welcomed, with open doors or, open arms by upperclassmen as maybe some of their peers. But to see all those girls cheer her on and support her, that was just really cool for me. I try to tell my girls that someday you're going to be those older girls that the younger girls look up to. And remember how people treated you, whether it's good or bad, and make sure that you're on the right end of that, because you're never wrong to do the right thing. And I just want to say that the girls that have been so accepting to Brooklyn, so I appreciate like the Kaylee Learmans and the Sydney Clars and the Nora Dykes and the Kayla Burns, because, and among others with the teammates, that have been looking out for her, and she hasn't even stepped foot into high school yet, and they're still treating her like one of their own, and I know I appreciate that. I've watched that video of her hit many times, and probably not for the reasons that many of you think, not just to watch what she does, but I got to see how her teammates reacted and the way that they cheered her on. I enjoyed watching Shayla throw her arms up there between second and third base, to see Kaylee Learman jumping up from the on-deck circle, Brielle Johnson racing around third to make sure she could get into the circle to celebrate with Brooklyn. And I hope those older girls, if they're out there listening and their parents, know how much that means to the younger girls and how much it means to us as parents. Also, what I wasn't ready for was the gratitude that I felt for all of those around me that were so willing to share in that excitement with me when it happened and after it happened, and just genuinely happy for Brooklyn. From my partner, my softball partner in crime, and a huge supporter of both our daughters, Craig Clar. He videoed that moment for us, and so I have to give him credit for that video. And just you can hear his excitement. I can't remember if I muted the background noise or not when I showed the video. You had Josh Hadeen came over, gave me a huge hug. He was so happy for Brooklyn. He's been watching her since she was like 8 years old. The mayor of TC, Tony Learman, immediately, send me a text, comes over to give me a fist pound. I got an email right away from Brooklyn's travel ball coach, Sarah, pumped up for Brooklyn. Messages from families and friends that, Brooklyn has played with since she first put on a glove. And to all those who sent messages and hugs and high fives, I can tell you that they meant more to our family than you probably realize, whether it be our Tiger Nation group or maybe the extended softball community that we're so lucky to be a part of. It was definitely a memorable night for us. And then to wake up this morning and see that the first guy that sent a message pumped up for Brooklyn's big hit was none other than Chad Foster. So how about that for an episode coming full circle? I appreciate the heck out of all of you, and I want to say thank you for letting us be a part of this crazy ride that is softball. Thanks for tuning in to What in the HVL. I hope you enjoy these episodes as much as I do, following along with all of your teams out there and trying to shine a spotlight on these amazing girls and these amazing families that we have in this southeastern Minnesota softball community. That's all I have for you here. Episode number 4 of What in the HVL is in the books. I hope to catch you all out at the field sometime. Take care, everybody.